prophesied Buddhist teachings would disappear from India for 2,500 years.
Buddhism, originating in 230 BC, disappeared from India. This is the story how 2,500 years later, it was discovered and restored to its land of origin.
It all started in 1782 with the appointment of Sir William Jones in Calcutta. He was fluent in 13 different languages and familiar with 28, including Arabic and Persian. He was not appointed as a professor of Arabic at Oxford.
Sir William Jones was offered £6,000 by the East Indian Company.
So he landed in Calcutta in September 1783. East India Company was the same company which was allowed to sell tea in Boston. The tax imposed on tea provoked wide resentment, leading to American independence in 1776. Sir William Jones, in September 1783, as a Supreme Court judge. He founded the Asiatic Society of Bengal and became the first secretary at this time. Sir William Jones was working in the court. He was quite different from the other Englishmen. Jones was supposed to be the finest intellectual of the West. What drew him to the Indian culture was the Indian music. William Jones and Anna, his wife, embraced India. They adopted the Indian dress, the food, the music, and all things Indian. Jones talked like an Indian, he walked like an Indian, and he ate like an Indian. This was much to the displeasure of his colleagues on the High Court.
From his Sanskrit learnings, he came across a document called Puranas. This document listed names of kings and the duration they ruled in India.
Chandragupta for 24 years, Bindusara for 25 years, Ashoka 36 or 37 years, the dynasty lasting for about 87 years. Jones' knowledge of Persian and Greek history made him think, could there be a relationship with these kings in India with those in Greek? In particular, Alexander's invasion of India sometime around 327 to 326 BC. Could European history be linked to the Indian Puranas in terms of dates?
The Greek meaning of Sandrakotis was warrior, man's defender. In fact, this warrior was an Indian who had helped Alexander's army, and in return, the Greeks had helped Sandrakotis become the king, killing his adversary. Jones' knowledge of Sanskrit revealed that King Nanda was killed by Chandragupta with the help of the Greeks. Putting all this information together, Jones discovered Sandrakotis was none other than Chandragupta. Chandragupta therefore ruled from 321 to 297 BC. He and Indian history were linked. Jones published this in the Asiatic Society of Calcutta. The publication brought a flood of information from intellectuals all over India. Some of the most prominent inscriptions were labeled by Jones and were left for future secretaries to decipher.
These writings were known as edicts.
September 18th, 1819, 27 years after passing away of Sir William James, James Princept came to Calcutta at the age of 20. Princept was assigned to manage East Indian Company's 12th mint in Varanasi, then known as Benares.
Princept was curious. What was the language on the edicts, and what did they mean?
Through his knowledge and the notes of the founder of the Asiatic Society, he started looking at the languages that were practiced at the time.
I wonder what each letter means. What language is this? Finally, I found a matching language. The sentence reads, King Piyadasi spoke thus. Who was Piyadasi? Mystery darkened. This is another part of the jigsaw. George Turner from Kalin provided the missing clue. The translation stated that there was a great friendship between King Patasa of Kalin and Dharam Oshaka of India. The latter had converted King Patasa to Buddhism. Dharam Oshaka was Piyadasi.
The question was, who was Ashoka, and what was Buddhism?
Ashoka was the grandson of Chandragupta, who ruled in India in 320 BC. Bindusara, Ashoka's father, expanded the Mauryan Empire further south to the Deccan Plateau. At the age of 18, Ashoka was sent to Taxila to quell an uprising, which was easily subdued. Because of his success, Ashoka was appointed governorship of Ujjain, located in southwest India. In Ujjain, Ashoka met Devi, a Buddhist belonging to the Shakya family of Gautam Buddha. He married her, and together they had 2 children. After Bindusara, Ashoka's father's death, in 270 BC, Ashoka became king by killing his 2 brothers. He was known as Ashoka the Butcher. Ashoka followed his father further by expanding the Mauryan Empire. He invaded Kalinga. With his past success and a large army, he was confident of a swift victory. However, the people of Kalinga fought with determination to save their houses and land. The battle lasted a long time. Ashoka finally won, but at what cost? There were 1,500 prisoners, more than 10,000 dead, and many more injured. Ashoka observed misery amongst women and children who had lost everything. Remorse followed. Instead of victory, Ashoka experienced repentance.
After the war in Kalinga, Ashoka was known as the Butcher King. However, a few years after the war, he was able to transform his image to Piyadasi, beloved of all beloved kings. How did Ashoka transform his image? Ashoka followed Gautam Buddha's teachings 2 centuries earlier. He engraved the teachings on rocks and pillars available to all his subjects. He apologized to the people of Kalinga. He sent emissaries to Burma, China, and to Ceylon he sent his son and daughter to spread the Dhamma.
He was drawn to Buddhism under the influence of his wife and nephew. The simplicity of the teachings led him to go on a pilgrimage. He visited the sites that Buddha had walked and the places where his ashes were interred. During the reign of Ashoka in 230 BC, Indo-Greek cultures flourished. One notable aspect of this cultural exchange was the creation of Greco-Buddhist art, which combined elements of Greek artistic traditions with Buddhist themes. Yakshi sculpture shows a beautiful woman with Indian jewelry, a smile like Mona Lisa, happiness on her face, and motherhood illustrated by the right breast with milk. The quality of Indo-Greek carving was at its peak. Ashoka is seen holding a wheel. This is the wheel of Dhamma, meaning moral law, which was the central focus of the edicts. The messages on the pillars was to follow the Dhamma, self-control, tolerance toward all religion. The messages on the pillars was to follow the Dhamma, much self-introspection. Better to conquer Dhamma within than to violently conquer territory.
It was known that both the Chinese monks Xu Suang and later Foxian had visited the birthplace of Buddha. In 1896, Anton Führer, an archaeologist of the Indian government, was escorted to Nepal across the Indian border to the camp of General Shamshe Rana, who showed him a pillar. Digging around it, Mr. Führer read, "Here was Buddha born." This was Lumbini.
Once the birthplace of Buddha was discovered, the life of Gautama unfolded like a mesmerizing tale. It began with the story of his birth, followed by his renunciation of the kingdom in pursuit of understanding the cause of human sorrow. His journey led him to attain enlightenment, culminating in his first teaching in Sarnath. Finally, his life concluded in Kushinagar. Each chapter of Gautama Buddha's life unfurled with profound significance. Why did Buddhism disappear from India? 50 years after the death of Ashoka, around 183 BC, General Pushymitra, a Brahmin, assassinated the last Mauryan emperor and became king.
फिर कथा शुरू करते हैं। चलिए,
सब तैयारी है, आप देख लीजिए।
यह आज कार्य होने जा रहा है। आप बच्चा बैठो, आज था यजमान, अति उत्तम, बहुत बढ़िया मुहूर्त लगता है जब किसी के घर में शुभ कार्य होते हैं। बड़ा
सब आप ही का
उत्तम व्यवस्था
सब आप
है।
ही का आशीर्वाद है गुरु जी।
नहीं ठीक है, देखिए पूर्वजों के कितने जन्मों के पुण्य उदय होते हैं, तब घर में इस प्रकार के कार्य होते हैं। सब लिए भी लगता है ठाकुर जी घर ही भूल गए। जाओ बेटा, थोड़ा दौड़ के जल्दी से ले आना तो।
चलिए भगवान जी, आप छूट गए, आपको लेने हमें आना पड़ा।
वाह बेटा बलराम, बड़ा बैठ। ओम मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुणध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनो हरिः। राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे कृष्ण। अरे भगवान सुनती हो?
जी।
अरे आज इतनी धूप में सुबह सुबह कहाँ चले गए थे?
अरे रामपुर वाले यजमान के यहाँ कथा कहना था, कोई साधन था नहीं, पैदल ही चले गए। बड़ा गला सूख रहा है। बलराम कहाँ है?
अरे अभी तो यही था, खेल रहा होगा कहीं।
बहुत बदमाश है, उसके लक्षण मुझे ठीक नहीं लगते।
अरे अभी वो कितनी उम्र का ही है कि वो सब जान जाएगा, सब ठीक हो जाएगा।
अरे जब कभी भी कहता हूँ कि आओ कुछ पढ़ लो, कुछ गीता के श्लोक पढ़ा दूं, तो कहता है कभी पेट दर्द है, कभी सिर दर्द है, भागने लगता है। एक दिन पढ़ा रहा था तो कह रहा है कि बताओ कृष्ण ने युद्ध क्यों कराया, बताओ। अब भगवान पर ही प्रश्न खड़े कर रहा है। ये सब ठीक नहीं है। पता नहीं मेरे बाद मेरे यजमानों का क्या होगा। आज की संध्या हुई और जो कल श्लोक पढ़ाए थे वो आज याद कर करके रखना। आज संध्या काल की संध्या में सुनूंगा।
मुझे अंग्रेजी पढ़ना है।
देख लो, सुन लो, कहते हैं अंग्रेजी पढ़ेंगे। सब मैं कह रहा हूँ, इसका लक्षण खराब है। चलो तैयार हो, कुछ नहीं, तुमको अभी यजमान के यहाँ चलना है, सब वहाँ बैठा करके सिखाऊंगा तुमको। चलो जल्दी तैयार हो जाओ, चलो।
अरे अभी वो कहाँ जाएगा? अभी उसने भोजन भी नहीं किया है, भोजन करेगा फिर चला जाएगा।
ठीक है, कल ठकुराने में कथा है, ठकुराने में कथा कहनी है, सामान लेकर के तैयार रहे, कह देना अपने लाडले से।
This young man rejected the strict dogmatic rules of his parents' religion. As he grew older, he became a meditator. A Chinese monk, Faxian, around 410 CE, walked all the way from China to India. He stayed 10 years in India, visiting his Buddhist sites, returning back to China, spreading Buddhism. In 630, Yu Seng, another Chinese monk, visited Nalanda. He took with him 657 Sanskrit books from Nalanda to China, translating Sanskrit into Chinese. Nalanda was the heartland of Buddhism. It was supported by several villages, financed by local kings like the Pala dynasty. From records obtained from Faxian and Yu Seng, it was clear that Buddhism was on the decline in India, but still very much alive. Between the 6th and 9th century, there was numerous direct contact between Nalanda and Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Java. Around 1018, Muhammad Ghazi invaded India. Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Kali destroyed Nalanda and surrounding monasteries. All monks were beheaded. These monasteries survived the Mughal invasion.
The final blow came when the Brahmins, in a compassionate act, made Buddha an embodiment of their god Vishnu.
The essence of Buddhist teachings was self-purification, not prayer. In 1968, S.N. Goenka gave the first course of Vipassana. The course attracted men and women of all religions and all walks of life.
Who is Goenka? In the 1950s, a young industrialist, S.N. Goenka, in Burma, experienced severe headaches. When all treatment failed, he was advised to try meditation. Goenka approached Sayagyi Ubankin and was rejected. On the second attempt, he was accepted. But he was apprehensive and planned to quit on the third day if his headaches persisted. He instructed his driver to stay near the meditation center in case he decided to quit. On the third day, he was ready to leave. However, with some persuasion, he stayed. And then history was made.
In 1955, S.N. Goenka, a successful businessman and the leader of the Indian community in Burma, took his first Vipassana course with Sayagyi Ubakin. It was a life-transforming experience. He continued to study for 14 years under the guidance of Sayagyi and became one of his foremost students.
We remember this brilliant shining star in the galaxy of Dhamma, Sayagyi Ubakin, my Dhamma father. He had so much love and compassion for the entire suffering humanity, but special love and compassion for India. He kept on saying that I have to pay back the debt of gratitude. This wonderful, invaluable Dhamma came from India, and today India is bankrupt. They don't have Dhamma. He very much wanted to go himself to give Dhamma, but due to certain reasons he could not go. And a situation arose due to which, even as a Burmese citizen, I got a passport to go to India. He was so happy, so pleased. Now you will go as my representative and you will fulfill my mission, my vision. I had my own hesitation because I knew my limitation, but he encouraged, saying that you have nothing to worry because Dhamma is going there and through you I am going there and you will be successful, you need not worry. It was all the power of Sayagyi King. It was all the blessing of Sayagyi King that within 1 month the first course of 10 days was given in India. And then after that, the Ganges of Dhamma started flowing throughout the country, courses after courses, courses after courses, unbelievable. And hundreds of people, thousands of people from around the world, they started coming to India and they started taking these courses. Unbelievable. It made me feel all the more that I am just a representative of Sayagyi. I am just a representative of Sayagyi. Everything is done by Dhamma, everything is done by Sayagyi King.
धम्म चक्र पंचशील बाकी समाधि बुद्धि उपदेश नाभि सात तीन पटरी दुख भोगे सभी प्राणी दुख भोगे सभी प्राणी सुनो समझो सभी नर नारी सुनो समझो सभी नर नारी दुख नहीं स्थिर अस्थिर थी दुख नहीं स्थिर अस्थिर थी दुख नाही हमेशा अनित्य अनीचति अनित्य अनीचति धम्म चक्र पंचशील बाकी न कार्य न वाच परे न हानि न कार्य न वाच परे न हानि हत्या नशायन पीढ़ी हत्या नशायन पीढ़ी छल कपट झूठ वर्जिती छल कपट झूठ वर्जिती यही है पंचशील पांच दिलशील की समाधि बुद्धि तेरा मंगल होए रे सबका मंगल सबका मंगल सबका मंगल होए रे जिस गुरुदेव ने धर्म दिया है उनका मंगल होए रे जिस जननी ने जन्म दिया है उसका मंगल होए रे पाला पोसा और बढ़ाया उस पिता का मंगल जग